Welcome to Arts News, friends. I'm Jimmy Ray, on vacation this week, but I still have some great arts content coming your way. This week we take a look at the NPR Tiny Desk Contest as the deadline approaches. We will also hear a rebroadcast of my interview with Cullen Bunn, New York Times bestseller, comic and now novelist here in the Ozarks. That and more coming up on Arts News. Support for Arts News today is provided by the Moxie Cinema, a nonprofit independent movie theater in Springfield. Showtimes and ticket information at moxiecinema.com. Friends, this is another call for any young poets out there who'd like their poetry or their favorite poem to be recited by them here on Arts News. You can reach out to me via email, jray@missourastate.edu. That's JREA@missourastate.edu, and we can figure out how to make that happen. On this week's episode of Arts News, we have young poet Evelyn Harper Beaupre reading her original poem, I Am Me.
The glory of nature so strong and beautiful. I look up into your skies. I see my own eyes reflected up in the cosmos above. I am me. I see who I truly am, and I look down from the shining eyes on myself. I see who I truly become, who I really wanted to be. I became the better version of me. I see myself through the eyes of nature, something as beautiful and big as the trees, something as great as the sky, something as bright as the sun. I am me. I see the wind and sky as a piece of me. I see the whole world as a piece of me. I am me, and that's what makes me. I see myself and everyone in this world through nature's eyes, and I see that it's beautifuler and better than anything I've seen before. But I've seen all this through my own eyes. Now that I'm seeing it through another perspective, I can see that I'm different, but I accept that because I am me. When I see the life of everyone on earth through nature's eyes, I see what a strong, beautiful planet Earth has become since the beginning. I know we've all had hard times, but sometimes we can just look up to the bright skies that are before us.
Thank you, Evelyn. That was the poem entitled I Am Me, an original poem by Evelyn Harper Beaupre, and part of a call for young poets out there to recite their favorite poem or a poem they have read or a poem they have written, and we can get it on the air here on Arts News to share it with the KSMU and NPR audience. You can do that by reaching out to me via email, jray@missourastate.edu. That's JREA@missourastate.edu. Any young poets out there, I look forward to hearing from you and or your parents or legal guardian. I'm Jimmy Ray. You're listening to Arts News here on KSMU. Welcome, friends. I'm Jimmy Ray. Welcome to Arts News here on KSMU. And a special guest, an author, Cullen Bunn, a Springfield-based author and also a Missouri State alum, and a New York Times best-selling author who has a new horror novel out called Bones of Our Stars, Blood of Our World. Cullen, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Yeah, so I looked here and dozens of comic books and novels over the years. How on earth do you get into writing and really, some folks like to write and have a good time with it, but you're actually printing stuff, getting it out there. I mean, that's not something that happens every day. How do you get into it?
Well, it was growing up, I always wanted to tell stories. I just had that was something I liked to do.
Yeah.
And even in like 5th and 6th grade, I had an old typewriter and I was writing really bad novels and really bad comic book scripts, and I was drawing my own comics and passing them out to friends.
Well, it all starts with bad, doesn't it? I mean, you got to learn and you got to...
Right, yeah. It has to be bad at the beginning. So I just always wanted to tell stories. I didn't care what medium I was telling stories in. I started out with prose because I knew how to submit short stories to magazines. That was the easy thing to do. I knew how to do that. I didn't know how to break into, say, comic books, even though I always loved comics. When I went to college, I pursued a degree in creative writing because that's the only thing I really enjoyed doing. After that, it still took me a while to break in. I was getting published short stories here and there and articles and things like that, but it took me a little while longer to break in. And when I did break in a way, when I say break in, I mean professionally. I was actually making money.
Sure.
It was in comic books. Professionally, comics for 20 plus years now. But I've always had that itch to return to doing more prose again. So.
Yeah. So on a comic book level, let's focus on that. So just writing, or are you illustrating as well?
Just writing. I was a pretty good artist as a kid, but I just stopped pursuing it. And it's interesting because I work with so many very talented artists, and they'll show me, they'll say, well, this is what my art looked like when I was, 14 years old. And I was probably better than they were.
Yeah.
But I stopped pursuing it, so I never progressed past 13 or 14.
Focused on the writing. Yeah.
I focused on writing.
So how does that work on a comic book? Do you have collaborators that you go to every time, or does a publisher help, or how does that work?
Well, it depends. Over the years, I've done a lot of books for, say, Marvel and DC, all the publishers that, the big publishers that you hear about from the movies. And with them, they usually, you might have a little bit of a choice, but for the most part, they are finding the artist for you. They've got an artist they want to work with on the project. And then I do a lot of creator-owned projects that are my own books with smaller publishers or independent publishers. And I have a lot more say on who the artist is there. Sometimes still, I'm pitching a book to a publisher. They come back and say, how about these 4 artists? What do you think? And then other times, I've got artists that I've worked with again and again that will pitch books together.
Yeah. Is this process when you start working with partners and larger franchises like, Marvel, it's huge, it's iconic. Is this the kind of thing, this is all you, or is there agents or partners that help you with legalities and all stuff like this, or is this something that you do, this is all you?
So I do have a literary agent, but for the most part, he focuses on helping me with the prose side of things.
Right.
He's helped with some comic book, negotiating some contracts and things like that. But when it comes to actually meeting the editors, pitching to the editors, that's all been me over the years. So and that was a big learning curve for me too, because networking was not my cup of tea. But getting into comics in that way, in a way that's going to make money, requires a lot of networking, a lot of banging your head on doors, and a lot of getting kicked in the shin.
Yeah. I'm in the music industry. I came from that 20 years and I dabble in it now. But a lot of pounding on doors, a lot of scratching and clawing away. But that's what it takes.
Yeah.
Can't give up, because in art, when you try to become a professional, there's a lot of rejection out there.
Yes.
You have to just sweep it to the side and keep going.
You do. I think at the end of the day, I think I'm a pretty good writer, but I'm real stubborn, and that's what makes the difference.
Oh man, I'm talking with Cullen Bunn, Springfield-based author and New York Times bestseller, with lots of work out there, including his brand new horror novel, Bones of Our Stars, Blood of Our World. It's out there anywhere that has books. It was released on Gallery Books and Simon & Schuster. The novel here that you've worked on, it's a horror novel. Is this your desired genre here?
Yeah, I tend, I like all kinds of stories, but I do tend to gravitate back towards horror books.
Is that something that's always been there as a kid? You always like scary movies, stuff like that?
I guess I did. I don't. When I think back, I was like, man, I feel like I was a real scared kid. But I also loved ghost stories. I loved, thinking that there were creatures out in the dark. It terrified me, but I was always into it.
Yeah.
If you would have asked me when I was a kid, are you a horror guy? I'd have been, no. I like fantasy and science fiction.
Sure.
But I was real. And when I think back, Oh, yeah, I really was sort of a horror guy all the time. Somewhere around high school, it really cemented for me that that's what I was into.
Yeah. When it comes to this novel in particular, what's the brief synopsis without any spoilers? What can folks kind of, if they want to claw into it here?
Well, it's one of those books that's difficult to pitch without spoiling, but it's set in a small town, North Carolina coastal town, and there is a killer on the loose. Someone is butchering citizens, harvesting their organs,
Oh, Lord.
and we don't know who it is. We're trying to the characters are trying to solve the mystery of who it is. And then somewhere along the way, about 2/3 of the way through, the book's going to take a major turn. The book you think you've been reading, it becomes something completely different.
Interesting. Colin Bunn here, author, Springfield-based author. And he's talking about his new horror novel that's just recently out last week, Bones of Our Stars, Blood of Our World. How long does it take to make a novel like this? I mean, is this a copy of it right here, or is
Yes.
this what you're reading? That's pretty thick. I mean, how long something like that take?
It took a while. It took several months of pretty dedicated, focus to write the book. I'm pretty fast.
Yeah.
I've always been a fast writer. It took a few months, and then the thing that I found that really kind of expanded that time was once it was done, I started overthinking it. So I wrote a draft, and then I rewrote that draft, and then my editor gave me notes. The notes weren't severe, but every little note I took it and I said, oh, he doesn't like this sentence. He must not like that chapter. I got to change that entire chapter or
Yeah.
expand it or add 6 characters. So I found myself I had to rein that in a little bit because
Yeah.
I was just going off the rails, expanding it.
Is that something that happens a lot when you're writing? Revisions?
Revisions are just part of writing. In the comic book world, it's a little quicker because usually you're working on a much tighter time frame that you turn it in and it's got to get moving. You might get a round of notes, but it's got to move so that an artist can take it and start drawing it. The revisions on this were maybe a little more intense than comic books. And part of that's me because, I'm writing comics. If I mess something up, if I've written a scene that I don't think is great, I know that the artist is going to draw it in such a way that saves the day.
Right.
But with a novel, it's all on me. So there's a little bit of stress with that side of things.
You mentioned in your note to me that you've done some novels in the past. How many things have you done? Is this the largest project you've done so far?
Novel-wise, this is definitely the biggest one I've written. I wrote a Middle Ages horror novel, but it was nowhere near the length of this for a small press company a few years back called Crooked Hills. And I've written tons of short stories.
Yeah.
And tons of novels that I started and then fell off and they sit in a drawer somewhere.
Yeah.
But this is the first big one that has been completed.
Yeah. Do you ever go back to those partials and say, okay, let me dig through this? I mean, I do that all the time with songs. I get a verse and a chorus going, and then I can't think of nothing else, and it sits. And
Oh, absolutely. I have filing cabinets and files on the computer, and it's all, to me, that's all soil. It's all fodder. It's all something I can dig from. And there have been plenty of times where I've started a novel, didn't like where it was going, and that novel in a few years becomes a new comic book series or something like that.
Pluck a character or an idea.
Take pieces. So all of that stuff, the failed stuff as much as the successful stuff, is useful because I can grab. I'm always harvesting stuff. And just like you said with a song, sometimes you just need to, get the wheels turning, and maybe I just look through that old stuff.
Yeah.
But I have files. I still have physical copies of the short stories when I was in college, and that was a long time ago, that my professors would give notes back on. So I still have those in a filing cabinet somewhere.
Nice. Talking with Cullen Bunn, New York Times bestselling author who's got a new book. It's a horror novel. It's called Bones of Our Stars, Blood of Our World. It's available anywhere that you like to get your books. Do you have a particular website or socials that folks can visit to learn more about you and your writing?
Yeah, my website's just my name, cullenbunn.com, and I'm across social media. It's at Cullen Bunn at whatever. There's certain social media things. I have more of a presence on, say, Instagram than others. I have a newsletter that I put out every week that is full of, hints of what I'm working on and thoughts on the genre and thoughts on writing and publishing. And that you can get to all of that, though, from my website.
Excellent. And that's Bunn with 2 N's for everybody out there wondering. Curious, is this a daily endeavor for you? Is this wake up and you write? This is your job?
Yeah, I get up real early every morning, 5 or 5:30, and I work until about 5 every day. And there obviously if I'm going to a convention or something, that might change my schedule. But for the most part, I'm pretty much I go down. The commute's nice. I go downstairs to my studio and I start working. But yeah, it's a day-to-day. It's a daily job for me. I have some flexibility that I didn't have when I was working, say, in marketing and things like that before I started writing full time.
Wow.
But it's still, I treat it like a day-to-day job.
You have to, man. You have to take it seriously. Yeah. And folks who want to be artists out there that are listening, I think that's something they need to take to heart, that if you really want to do it, it's not just dabbling around.
It's not. Yeah, it takes a lot of focus and commitment to make it happen.
What's next on the docket? You trying another novel, you think? Or
Yes, I've got another novel in the works now. I'm always working on several comic books, so I have several new comic book series that are starting up. I've got a new one out right now called Deluge, which is sort of a survival horror story set in a women's prison that's flooding, and it's coming out right now from Ignition Press, and then I'm doing several more comic books with Ignition Press over the next couple of years.
Excellent. Springfield-based author Cullen Bunn, and his new novel is out, Bones of Our Stars, Blood of Our World. Check it out anywhere that you buy your books. Cullen, appreciate you coming on and appreciate the inspiration of a Springfield artist and all that you're doing.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, man.
I'm Jimmy Ray. You're listening to Arts News here on KSMU. Welcome. Support for Arts News today is provided by Dressler Peters Business Law Firm, committed to promoting music and the arts in the Ozarks by supporting local public radio, including KSMU's weekly arts newsletter, The Green Room. Information at DresslerPeters.com. And support is also provided by Pickwick Underground Framing, offering custom picture framing and installation. Open weekdays 10 to 5:30 and Saturdays by appointment at 611 South Pickwick Avenue. Information at PickwickUndergroundFraming.com.
I don't wanna go window shopping again. But that's what the boys like. Oh, that's what the boys like. That's what the boys like. A little bit crazy, I'm crazy, yeah. Oh,
That was Roxy and the Moon King with their tune Window Shopping, and they submitted that tune as part of the Tiny Desk Contest. It's National Public Radio's annual event, and it's caught on like wildfire and spread so much good music, good joy, and good vibes. I wanted to make sure everybody knew that the deadline is coming up. Unsigned musicians now have a chance to shine on one of public radio's most celebrated stages, the 2026 NPR Tiny Desk Contest. It's officially open for entries, and artists from across the United States, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands who are 18 or older and do not have a current recording contract can enter through February 9th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time, so the deadline is approaching quickly. To enter, musicians record a video of themselves performing an original song behind a desk of their choice. Upload that video to YouTube and submit the entry form to NPR's Tiny Desk Contest website at npr.org/tinydeskcontest. The grand prize winner will be invited to perform a Tiny Desk concert at NPR headquarters in Washington, D.C., be paired with a music industry mentor, and headline a 10-city national tour. Past winners of the contest have gone on to significant milestones in their careers, from Grammy Awards to major tour dates. A panel of judges that include NPR music producers, member station hosts, Musicians and industry professionals will select this year's winner. Musicians looking to expand their audience or take their next step in the music world are encouraged to submit their original work before the deadline. That's February 9th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. We've always had a nice, robust turnout for the Tiny Desk contest here in the Ozarks. We heard a little tune there from Roxy and the Moon King. And we'd like to shine a light on another one of the Tiny Desk entries from here in Springfield, Mabel Lane. Here's her tune from 2025, Oasis on the Prairie, right here on Arts News KSMU.
17 years on Nebraska plains, we were dust bowl fighters, but we labored in vain for an emerald strung along the banks of the Blue River. Some things come, then they're gone forever. Some things money can't buy, but still we endeavor. They're tearing out the trees for a few dollars a year. But you taste like innocence and freedom and all the things I left behind. You remind me, yeah, you say I'm right where I need to be, in purity, in place, in time. You're taking me back, take me back to my oasis on the prairie. Take me back. You're taking me back, take me back to my oasis on the prairie. Take me back. Eyes shut tight, walk in every room, so if I go blind, I could still make it through. And Daddy's on the road 'cause we had a bad year or two. Now they're pointing out flaws, but to me it was perfect. I'm crying when I wake up because they don't deserve it. They bought an old house, but the memories left with me. But you taste like innocence and freedom and all the things I left behind. You remind me, yeah, you say I'm right where I need to be, in purity, in place, in time. You're taking me back, take me back to my oasis on the prairie. Take me back. You're taking me back, take me back to my oasis on the prairie. Take me back, take me back. These gravel roads can't take me home. Looking forward's all I've ever known, but you take me back, yeah, you take me back, yeah. These gravel roads can't take me home. Looking forward's all I've ever known, but you take me back, yeah, you take me back, you're taking me back to my oasis on the prairie. Taking me back to my oasis on the prairie. Taking me back to my oasis on the prairie. Taking me back to my oasis on the prairie. Taking me back to my oasis on the prairie.
I'm Jimmy Ray. You're listening to Arts News here on KSMU. That was Mabel Lane, her song Oasis on the Prairie, part of our showcasing of Tiny Desk applicants. She submitted that song in her video last year, and folks can do the same this year, but get it in before February 9th at 11:55 Eastern at npr.org/tinydesk contest. And turning to visual arts here in the Ozarks, down in Hollister, Missouri, the Southern Missouri Arts Connection will host a solo exhibit featuring the work of photographer Ivan Edson, entitled I Spy with My One Good Eye. The show will run February 6th through 28th at the SMAC Art Center, located at 7 Downing Street in historic Hollister, Missouri. This exhibit of fine art photography features stunning imagery of wildlife, landscapes, and cityscapes by local artist Ivan Edson. With an eye for detail, Edson uses photography as his artistic medium of choice, providing a creative perspective that captures the personality and mood of his subjects with exquisite clarity. Edson says, "I'm hoping viewers will find beauty and wonder in all the little details of the photos. The images show the intricacies of nature we don't often notice, such as the tiny hairs on a butterfly's legs or water droplets on a flower petal." His work also showcases sweeping landscapes and intriguing architectural structures, plus fascinating astrophotography. With more than 20 framed digital prints, an opening reception will be held tonight, Friday, February 6th from 6 to 9 p.m. Both the exhibit and reception are free and open to the public. During the reception, Edson will speak about his photography and answer questions about his work. Attendees may view the exhibit, tour the private studios, and enjoy complimentary refreshments. Each month during their exhibits, SMAC highlights one of the many local nonprofit organizations that serve the area. This month, SMAC is drawing attention to House of Hope, which offers services to the homeless in the Branson area, including a warming center for freezing nights. They connect their clients to resources so that they can make positive changes that will move their lives forward. More information at houseofhopebranson.org. Solo photography exhibit starting tonight through February 28th. At the Southern Missouri Arts Connection Art Center, 7 Downing Street, featuring I Spy with My One Good Eye, the photography of Ivan Edson. More information at smac-art.org. And ArtCon returns to Neosho with an expanded lineup of pop culture guests and activities. The Neosho Arts Council will host the annual convention on Saturday, February 7th at Neosho Junior High School. The event celebrates the fine arts behind comics, film, television, and games. This year's guests include actor Chase Masterson from Star Trek Deep Space Nine and voice actor Clay Adams, along with comic creators Jeremy Hahn and Jason Hurley, whose series The Beauty was recently adapted for television. Several other comic writers and artists will be in attendance. ArtCon features free panels throughout the day, a vendor hall with more than 100 booths, cosplay, esports competitions, tabletop gaming, and food trucks. Organizers say the event is designed to be affordable and family-friendly. ArtCon runs from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. February 7th. Admission is $5 with children 5 and under admitted free. More information is available at neoshoarts.net. I'm Jimmy Ray. You're listening to Arts News. That's all the time we have for Arts News this week, folks. I'm Jimmy Ray. We'll see you next week and every Friday morning, 10 o'clock, right here for People, Places, and Things to Do. Till then, take care. Peace. It's Arts News, people and places, things to do. Arts News, here on KSMU. Hey!